Hello everyone, how's it going? It is 9:09 a.m. 12/18/2020. The neighbors beside me, they are cutting like a tree, so it's gonna be kind of noisy, which is fine. It's just I'm just gonna note that it's gonna be a bit noisy. And we have four stocks to watch: CYTH, CNSP, MREO, LKNCY is my vegetables. This is my OTC that I have to look at. It's up on the second day. Very controversial stock. Had to pay, I believe, some kind of a settlement. They got in trouble recently. It's just spiking, I guess, because they got out of it, out of that trouble. This is a sketchy Chinese company. It's up at 810. Not really gonna trade it. Don't see any setups that I would want to trade. I mean, if it could spike maybe one more day, so maybe on a Tuesday it makes a number 5 pattern, that would be great. It's kind of sad. I think like they're cutting down this 100-year-old tree and they're just like literally throwing it in a shredder. They're not even gonna use it for firewood. I'll be back later when the noise is gone. Alrighty, the noise is gone. At least it's fading away. So yeah, these are the other three stocks. CYTH. Let's just do a 1-day chart showing the extended hours. I mean, I like how it could potentially pull off an inverse head and shoulders because it likes making these type of bounces. Long-term chart isn't really good. I consider it a second day. The first day didn't move that much, but it had volume. That's why I call it a second day. This is not really a bad chart, even though it's down a bunch, just because it didn't trade very much. It's been a liquid previously, so there's a lower chance of bank holders. I mean, there's obviously gonna be some. It's just not too likely. CNSP, I don't know why the no is in there, but this looks like a second day, even though the first one is a red candle just because of the volume. So we have a few second days, not really a first day. I've seen inverse head and shoulders, a setup that I like the most workouts on second days. Obviously, I think it's less likely, but it's still possible. MREO is the actual first day. The long-term chart isn't too nice. It's very wicky. I don't like wicky. It's obviously building up volume, and it has led to this breakout day. Might be the most it can do. Let's just look at the news, see if it's anything worth. Licensing agreements. Alright, well, they have some kind of news. NDA approval. Alright. That's all we got. We'll just keep looking. We'll see if we can find any setups today. It's a Friday, so you know it's in favor for the longs over shorts. Not interested in shorting anything. We'll see if we have any setups. I'll come back if there's an update. Alright, it is the market open. CYTH. This is the least likely to work, but I think it could do a chance this time. Looks like a cup and handle might form. Like I said, this one isn't perfect because it has this bounce in the middle, but I'm just taking a look at it. I'm not going to trade this so far, at least. If there's an opportunity, obviously I'll consider trading. At least I hope I won't be hesitant. Just recording now just to see maybe this could do a cup and handle. I doubt it, but it's possible. CNSP sure is up 44%, but I don't like this. That is down from this run up. MREO, if it keeps looking like this, I'll take it off. It's just, you know, the market just opened, so you can do anything right now. LKNCY, look, it's only up 2 days, but if it were to drop a whole bunch right now, like a number 5 setup, you know, I actually don't think I will trade it just because it's only up 2 days. I would want it to be up at least 3 or 4 days, but I'll keep watching this. Alright, it is 9:40 a.m. I really want to be long, bullish on a Friday with these first day spikers, but they're just, I don't know. I mean, it could always change, but a lot of these are giving off like a sign that it could just fade the rest of the day. This guy could still make the cup and handle. It probably won't. It's the least reliable pattern out of all of them. This will be way too big of a handle. It's not my favorite pattern. I like head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. Breakouts over the pre-market highs, intraday breakouts, confirmed breakouts and breakdowns. Ascending triangles are nice too. This one is in this like range, this little downtrending range, and actually kind of cracked lower than that. That was a big bounce. Jeez, that's poor trees. Anyway, I don't see any setups right now. I mean, LKNCY, you could say it's a dip buy, number 5, but it's only up 2 days, and I just don't like that. I would like it to be down more than just 2 days for a number 5 pattern. I'll come back if there's any more updates. I really hope those trees aren't too loud. Okay, I think it's only been a few minutes later at 9:45. NXTD is very volatile. I picked up here. I guess since the market opened, volume just continued to keep building up, right? And it's having this nice spike. It actually looks like it's going to try breaking over this previous level, and it might fail and reject it too. Would I want to short towards that level of resistance? The answer is probably not, because it is a Friday, and a lot of things can happen on a Friday. Maybe if it does or if it rounds off like a shoulder, perhaps. Otherwise, I'm not interested right now. And we have another tree being cut along the branch. Okay, the noise is fading, so we got at least 20 seconds before it does that again. Yeah, it's just a very impressive spike. This is a stock you don't want to short really on a Friday. I guess shorts are getting squeezed, heading towards this level of resistance. It could definitely crack through it. It might not be immediate, but it might do it. LKNCY actually did bounce from that level right here, 748 up to 811. Even though it spiked and it would have been a profit, there's no way I would have traded that, because it was only the second day. I wanted to have done a number 5 dip buy over here on the second day of a stock. I would want it to be at least up 3 days in a row continuously for me to consider doing a number 5. Also with OTCs, it's not just that I'm being cheap with commissions, that I don't want to trade OTCs. Because of commissions, you have to trade a decent amount of size in order to be profitable. PRED was an OTC I traded this year. I did great in terms of trading the setup, but the problem is that because I traded such a small amount, I actually lost money because of commissions, and I don't like that. So I'll keep it up. I don't see if there's anything going. I'll see if there's anything going on, but right now I think it's a no. Okay, it is 9:56 a.m. I was looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders. It's not going to work out because it spiked very impressively. It spiked very, very, very nicely. Probably spiked so much because it's the only stock I can short on E-Trade. So if I can short it on E-Trade, that's going to mean that it's really shortable everywhere else, which could definitely lead something like this on a Friday. LKNCY spiked from the 740s to the 850, so that's $1 on the $7 stock. That's not so bad. This guy's pathetic. This guy's pathetic. Kind of tried to make an inverse head and shoulders, but this is all ugly. I almost want to get rid of these two. Even though they're up more, they're just not trading anything that I want to trade. But I'll keep them up because they could always do something else in the next hour. It's just MERO to look at. LKNCY was interesting. NXTD. This guy could be a potential setup. If it breaks past this level, right here, 160. If it would have rounded off at 160, that would have been pretty bullish. It's rounding off instead in the 150s, which means it could still spike, but it's just less likely. It's still an impressive stock. This guy could continue to run, especially being a Friday today, but Right, there's no setups right now. Was a potential inverse head and shoulders. Not anymore. Maybe if it keeps spiking like this and it has a small dip, and it kind of rounds off, maybe. But right now, no true setups. Okay, it is 10:33 a.m. No real setups, although a bit scary. But LKNCY looks like a symmetrical triangle. I mean, these things could break out or break down. It could go either direction, but these are always interesting to look at. I got rid of the first 2% gainers because they just were not doing anything. NXTD is kind of trailing below the range right here, which is bearish, and I don't really want to go short this guy either, so I'm just going to let it be. LKNCY, again, maybe that potential symmetrical triangle, just to watch and see what it does. MERO, I guess this is what I forgot what you call it. I think it's a bull flag. One that just goes down a little bit as a bull flag. Here's the wick, in theory, the risk off of, which is 312 in order at 319, 320. Nice breakout. I wouldn't have traded this. Pretty impressive though. I guess a bit of a head and shoulders, but I'm not going to trade anything that makes a shoulder with one wick. That's one candle. That's that's crazy. So yeah, no setups right now, but I'll definitely keep looking. It's probably going to be no trading today. It's already 10:30, but hey, I mean that's totally fine. Okay, it is 2:13 p.m. Remember the symmetrical triangle I was talking about here? It actually played out nicely. Did a breakout over the day high. I wasn't looking at this stock, otherwise I would have traded it had I still been looking at around 11 a.m. when the breakout happened. It had a quick dip back to 880, not really close to the breakout level in the 850s, so it wasn't really a confirmed breakout pattern to buy, although you can say in theory it was. It just didn't drop that close to it. It seems like it was a bit closer here. You could have called this perhaps a confirmed breakout, but it didn't really get that close either, although it was closer than that previous spike. And then we seem to have had another symmetrical triangle. Again, these things are always sketchy because there's always that chance that the triangle setup plays out and it just creates, instead of an uptrend, a breakout, a severe downtrend. I think I recorded one not too long ago. It was not the best example, but it was TSMP, the OTC. It was one of those OTC guys that did it, and it absolutely failed. LKNCY, this is an OTC, nice market cap that it definitely deserves. It doesn't matter, if it's inflated. I mean, because hysteria can continue. Anyway, I'm looking at this right now because it looks like it could try to break the day high again. It tried here, but it failed, and now it looks like it might actually do it, but I'm just too damn scared to trade this one. Not out of, well, yes, out of fear, but just because this guy is so sketchy. I mean, that's why it could spike even more, because it's so sketchy. More people are short this stock because of that fact, and now they're gonna get squeezed, which is gonna cause a nice uptrend. I just don't have too much experience with OTCs, but the more good patterns I keep seeing like this, the better. I think the guys cutting the tree took a break, so I'm glad that I'm glad that's not a thing anymore. But yeah, I'll definitely record and see what's gonna happen from this. I'm not really looking at the markets. I have this on the other screen. I'm actually rewatching Tim Raw from the DVD I have, and it's pretty cool watching that DVD because a lot of the things he talks about from 2008, 2008 is still accurate. He talks more about pump and dumps, which isn't what it used to be back then with emails. It's still a thing, but not really as much as they used to. Now it's like Twitter, social media instead of emails. Physical mailers, which is even older. Anyway, this thing rejected here. It might reject again, but it's kind of like on a deadline. It can absolutely fail. I could, in theory, just go long and just cut losses, but the thing is that I don't really know where I would cut losses at. Let's just try to draw a trend line. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll try to follow this. That's not such a bad trend line. Kind of wanna make it follow this range right here. That isn't so bad. It's definitely following some kind of trend line. And in theory, I guess with this type of setup, what you could do is take a buy, ascending triangle, breakout, shorts getting squeezed, crazy, sketchy, manipulative stock. I think the stock is shortable, not on E-Trade, but I think it's readily shortable on interactive brokers. I'm not too sure. If it's a stock that people can't get short, of course, there's not going to be too much of a chance that it's actually going to squeeze people, and then it will just be a pure euphoria spike, which might be kind of hard to sustain considering how much it's been up. Had an ascending, symmetrical triangle here, symmetrical triangle here, and this whole thing ascending towards a breakout. If we go back one day, the thing is gone, but it would basically be over this level based on that previous high. Doesn't have to work out, but I guess in theory you could take a buy 1053, risk it off of it cracking the trend line level, trying to make it as accurate as possible. I would risk 30 cents, and then I mean, if it cracks the day high, it could, who knows how high it can go. So, you know, it doesn't have previous resistance. It just depends on how much you know, continued momentum there is with the breakouts. Risking 30 cents, you could easily get 30 cents as well on a crazy spike. This guy doesn't seem to be the kind that spikes a lot. It does have a high float of 68 million shares. Maybe if it was a 7 million share float, that would much more be in favor because there are less shares available, and that could really cause a crazy spike. But because there are so many shares available, I'm not going to trade it. It does seem like it's failing. It could still make it. You could definitely try buying, risking it off the trend line break. However, it could easily crack through and cause a humongous panic, and that might be hard to cut losses. So for that reason, I'm not going to trade this. I am going to watch this and see what it does. Whether it goes up or down, you can learn from it. I would be cutting losses now. I'm not sure if I have the trend line perfectly the way I'd want it, but I'd definitely be trying to cut losses now. And the problem is that everybody else is going to be doing the same thing with this type of strategy, which makes it hard to get out at a decent price. So yeah, I guess that's why I didn't trade it. I mean, because it has a high float. Sketchy OTC has been running up the whole day. Multiple times that you could have gotten in before all of this. Failed here. Of course, it could have still have made it, but it's not really backed up by good fundamentals. If anything, it's just sketchy news coming out. It's not like NXTD, which was much cleaner. For that reason, I think it's not halted. If this was likely, if this was like a low float, maybe I would have considered it, because even if this stock is not easily shortable, just the lack of shares could cause a big spike, but there is a lot of shares available. I don't know if this stock is easily shortable. I think it's an OTC, so it's going to be less people shorting this. NXTD is a NASDAQ. You have to just take all these things into consideration. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about trying to figure out if the odds are in your favor or not. I wouldn't have shorted it because it could have spiked. But maybe if it drops here and then you short towards the trend line as a confirmed breakdown, that could be a setup too. But yeah, I think I'm going to just call it off from here. I might do one more recap just to see what this guy ultimately did. I mean, it could still uptrend. It could still definitely do it. I mean, you know, you could play around with the trend line and still make it look like it's going up like crazy. We'll just yeah, we'll definitely have another recap later in the day, but I just don't see a setup right now, and these are the things that I'm currently thinking of as to why I didn't trade it, although I could still do it very nicely. Okay, it is 4:35 p.m. Just wanted to do a recap over everything that happened today. LKNCY did fail. It did have like a follow-up bounce, and that was it. Another one, maybe this follow-up bounce would have been over the trend line. That would have been just a very small move. It tried again. Could also just be basing off of this level, although not perfectly. It tried again, it failed. It just faded off. Let's try to refresh this actually. Yeah, it dropped pretty nicely. I can't short on E-Trade because it's an OTC, but yeah, it definitely fell. I'm not sure anymore if this thing is easily shortable with other brokers. I think it's actually hard. I can't remember anymore. But the thing with NXTD is the fact that it could be shorted at least on E-Trade at some point, because it could have been shorted very easily on E-Trade. It definitely presented the opportunity for those who are short to get squeezed and cause this momentum. Two different ascending triangles, two similar setups, two different stocks. One was a buy, one was not a buy. If anything, the other one, this one was a short. So that goes to show that you can't just rely purely on technical analysis, because you know, you might trade this and just put all your money in it. NXTD was great. This one's the next one. Nope. There are different things that you know you have to look at, that I look at. MREO was boring. It just kind of, you know, this one was the only shortable stock that was up pre-market, that was shortable, and is the one that squeezed the most. The other ones I think faded the rest of the day. Very nice move, not really tradable. I don't see any inverse head and shoulders or something like that to trade. No setups. LKNCY failed. Ascending triangle. NXTD. I mean, it continued to run even though, you know, only 2%. It did a nice move in the market open. Nobody can deny that. And yeah, that's all I got. No trading today. Maybe in theory could have shorted LKNCY with the head and shoulder. Not really a head and shoulders here. Yeah, really not. Just a pure failure of a ascending triangle. Again, for different reasons. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. That's all I got. NXTD, great ascending triangle. LKNCY, another ascending triangle. They were different. They played out differently because of the other reasons besides the technical charts.